Okay, let's just dive right into this. We've all had this experience, right? You do everything you're supposed to do.
Everything the sleep gurus tell you.
Exactly. You get into bed at a reasonable hour. You're there for a full 8 hours, maybe even 9, and the alarm goes off and you just feel awful.
Oh, completely exhausted.
Yeah, that really deep, foggy, sluggish, tired. Sometimes you even wake up feeling, I don't know, anxious for no reason.
It feels like a total betrayal. You followed the rules, you put in the time, and you got nothing back. And that really brings us to the uncomfortable truth from the sources we analyzed. Sleep is fundamentally not about the sheer number of hours you spend with your eyes closed.
Right. The problem is we've all been trained to think about it like a phone charger.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
You just plug yourself in for 8 hours,
Right.
and you should wake up at 100%.
Yeah.
And if you're still tired, well, I guess you needed 9 hours.
But the human body just doesn't work like a battery. It's not that simple. It operates through these really sophisticated, delicate biological cycles.
Okay.
And if those critical cycles, the ones that actually repair your body and mind, if they get broken or interrupted, well, 8 hours of that can feel so much worse than, say, 6 hours of really good deep rest.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to stop looking at the clock and start looking at the actual, chemistry of what's going on. Mm-hmm. We're going to explore what actually happens when sleep works the way it's supposed to, what common things we all do are destroying that quality, and most importantly, the simple intentional changes from the source material that can actually fix it.
We're basically helping you trade that quantity mindset for a quality one. So you stop just floating on the surface and actually start that restorative deep dive.
You know what I found most fascinating in the research were these stories from sleep researchers. They were studying people who swore they were doing everything right.
The people who insisted I get my 8 hours.
Yes. But they felt this constant, just debilitating fatigue. It's the exact paradox we're talking about.
And when they finally brought these subjects into a lab, hooked them up to monitors, the data was it was revelatory.
What did they find?
The problem wasn't the total time they were in bed. It was the composition of that time. They were getting almost none of the two most important stages, deep sleep and REM sleep.
So they had the duration, but it was all shadow.
Exactly. The brain data showed them basically stuck in light sleep all night. The sources used this incredible analogy for it.
I remember this.
They said these people were skimming the surface of rest, never diving deep.
That's such a powerful way to put it. So what is skimming? What is light sleep?
Think of light sleep as the transition zone. Your body's slowing down, sure, but your brain is still kind of monitoring everything. It's on standby.
So a car alarm goes off or the temperature changes and you're awake.
Instantly. You get pulled right out. And you need that phase to get to the good stuff, but if you spend most of your night there, you never get any actual repair work done.
So the big takeaway here, and this is really the foundation for everything else, is that the quality of the dive, the time you spend in deep and REM sleep, that's the real metric.
That is the only metric that matters for feeling rested. It's not about how long your eyes are closed. You have to get below the surface.
Okay, so let's define what's below the surface. Let's map out what a good night of sleep actually looks like architecturally.
The basic structure is a cycle. Your brain moves through these different stages, from light to deep, then into REM, and the whole thing repeats roughly every 90 minutes.
90 minutes, that's a key number.
It's absolutely crucial because it means one single interruption doesn't just wake you up for a minute. It can actually derail an entire 90-minute restorative block.
Okay, let's start with the first dive, deep sleep. If it's the physical repair stage, what's actually happening in the body?
This is pure physical reconstruction. I mean, this is where your body releases the vast majority of its human growth hormone.
Right, which is for cell repair, building muscle.
Exactly, tissue regeneration. Your immune system gets a massive boost, inflammation gets cleared out, and neurologically, this is also when the brain does its cleaning. It's a process that clears out all this metabolic waste that builds up while you're awake.
Like a janitorial crew for the brain.
That's a perfect way to think about it.
And what happens if you don't get enough of it? If you skimp on deep sleep?
The consequences are immediate and they're purely physical. You wake up feeling heavy, your muscles are sore, your body aches, you feel physically run down because that repair crew never got to finish its job.
Okay, so deep sleep is for the body. But after that, the brain shifts gears into the next critical stage. REM sleep, rapid eye movement.
Right. And if deep sleep is the physical reset, REM is the mental and emotional reset.
So this is where the cognitive work happens.
All of it. Think of it as data processing. REM sleep is where your brain consolidates memories, taking short-term experiences and filing them away into long-term storage. And crucially, it's also your emotional regulator. REM is where we process difficult emotions, integrate stressful memories. It's basically a hard drive optimization for your mind.
And if you miss out on REM, that's where the mental fog comes from.
Precisely. You miss your REM cycles, your emotional regulation just tanks. You might feel way more anxious than a situation warrants, or you get irritable really easily. That fuzzy, can't focus feeling, that is often a sign of broken REM sleep.
So if you put those two together, deep sleep for the body, REM for the mind, it all comes together. The sources are basically saying sleep deprivation isn't about the clock. It's about missed stages.
That's the mind-blowing insight. It completely resolves that paradox we started with. It's why someone can feel amazing after 6 solid hours of deep cycling.
While someone else feels totally broken after 9 hours of just skimming the surface.
Exactly. The clock is irrelevant if your body never gets the memo to switch from on duty to rest and repair.
Which brings us to the big question. What is stopping us? If these cycles are so essential, what's keeping our brains from dropping down into deep and REM?
Well, the good news, if you can call it that, is that the culprits aren't a big mystery. They're common, everyday habits that we do, often without thinking, that hijack our nervous system right when we need it to calm down.
Let's start with the biggest one, the one that probably affects everyone listening. Screens late at night. We all know it's bad, but why is it so bad? How can an hour of scrolling ruin the next 7?
It's the mechanism. The sources really dig into this. The blue light from our phones and tablets is the primary signal to our brains that it's daytime.
So it's a chemical thing.
It is a direct chemical signal. That light hits your eyes and it actively suppresses the production of melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone of darkness. It's the key that unlocks the door to deep sleep. By scrolling, you're basically telling your brain it's noon and you chemically block the transition to sleep.
You're creating a chemical conflict. And speaking of conflict, the next huge quality destroyer is stress.
Stress is probably the #1 enemy of good sleep. Because it's not just a feeling, it's a full body physiological state that is the direct opposite of what you need for rest.
How so?
When you're stressed, your body is swimming in cortisol. Cortisol is the alert hormone. Its job is to keep you awake, vigilant, ready to fight or run.
But wait, if I'm lying in bed with my eyes closed, trying to sleep, shouldn't my brain know I'm safe?
Your conscious brain might know, but your physical body only responds to its internal chemistry. High cortisol levels activate your sympathetic nervous system. That's the fight or flight system.
Okay.
And it is chemically impossible to drop into deep sleep, which requires the parasympathetic nervous system rest and digest while your body is bathed in cortisol. You're pressing the gas and the brake at the very same time.
It's a physiological stalemate. That makes perfect sense. The third one the sources highlight is late meals. This feels a little less dramatic, but they say it's just as destructive.
It's very sneaky. It's a workload conflict. If you eat a big meal within, say, 3 hours of bedtime, you're forcing your digestive system to go into overdrive right when it's supposed to be shutting down.
And that takes energy.
It takes a lot of energy. But more importantly, the process of digestion actually raises your core body temperature.
And why does core body temperature matter? I never would have thought of that.
It's one of the most important environmental cues for sleep. To initiate and maintain deep sleep, your body needs to drop its core temperature by a couple of degrees. It's a signal to the brain that it's time to power down.
So if your metabolism is fired up from a late dinner, you're physically preventing that temperature drop.
You are. You might fall asleep, but you'll stay hovering in that light, shallow stage because your internal thermostat is set too high.
So the big picture here with screens, stress, late meals, is that even when you're unconscious, your body's still working. Your nervous system is on alert, your digestive system is on the clock.
Your body is still on duty. You're unconscious, but you are not resting. And that's why you wake up feeling the exhaustion of someone who's been on a low-level alert all night long.
So now that we've laid out the problems, the things keeping us on alert, let's talk solutions. The sources are really clear that the fix isn't about buying some complicated gadget.
No, not at all. It's about intentionality. That's the key word. It's about making small, intentional behavioral changes to calm that hypervigilant nervous system before your head even hits the pillow.
You're sending the body a clear signal. The day is over. You can power down now.
Exactly.
So what are some of the most high-impact, actionable steps from the research?
You start with the environment, light and temperature. In the hour or two before bed, you have to dim the lights in your house. Significantly.
Get rid of the bright overhead.
Get rid of them. Switch to low-level lamps. This is a direct, powerful signal to your brain to start producing its own melatonin naturally.
And the temperature point seems huge, especially connecting back to digestion.
It is. Sleep cooler. An intentional drop in your bedroom temperature is maybe the easiest lever you can pull. The research is very clear that a cooler room, somewhere in the low to mid 60s Fahrenheit, helps you not just get into deep sleep, but stay there.
Okay, so that's environment. Moving to behavior, we have to talk about the screen. How do you actually stop yourself from scrolling into anxiety?
It's about replacing the habit, not just creating a void. Instead of scrolling, you need to do something that actively pulls your nervous system out of that fight or flight state.
Like what?
The sources really emphasize slow breathing exercises.
But if my body is already flooded with cortisol from a stressful day, how can just breathing slowly possibly compete with that powerful hormone?
That's a fantastic question because it gets to the actual mechanism. Slow, intentional breathing, especially with a long exhale, directly activates something called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is basically the superhighway for your parasympathetic, your rest and digest system. By deliberately slowing your breath down, you are sending a physical signal up that nerve that tells your brain to slow your heart rate. You are literally using your breath to override the cortisol signal. It's a physiological off switch.
It's not a distraction, it's a countermeasure. That's a huge shift in thinking. And what about the last piece? Consistency.
Consistency is everything. Your body runs on a circadian rhythm, which is just a fancy word for a predictable schedule. Keeping the same bedtime and wake time, yes, even on weekends, creates a reliable routine.
And that makes it easier for the body to know when to start the cycles.
Dramatically easier. If your bedtime is all over the place, you're constantly forcing your brain to guess when it should start the whole process. You're creating jet lag without ever leaving your house.
So these small intentional changes, managing light, temperature, your breathing, your schedule, this is the real path to quality sleep.
It's the path to getting more deep and REM stages, which leads to real rest, no matter what the clock says. You are finally giving your body permission to flip that sign from on duty to powered down.
And that really is what this whole deep dive comes down to. It's about moving away from this obsession with a number 8 hours and focusing on the quality of your internal brain cycles.
If you manage the chemistry and the environment before you get into bed, the quality rest will actually follow.
So we want you to think about your own routine tonight. If you are one of those people who consistently wakes up tired after a full night in bed, we want you to take this one powerful question away with you.
Ask yourself this: am I actually sleeping?
Or am I just unconscious?
Because just thinking about that difference and recognizing what might be keeping you functionally alert all night, that holds the power to change not just your nights, but the energy, the focus, and the clarity of every single one of your days.